right from that, we're going to jump right into AEW Double or Nothing here. So they had an attendance of 8179 and a setup of 8697. Pretty good, not bad. I kind of saw some weird crowd shots. It looked like there were sections where there weren't like a lot of people, basically the hard cam side. But I don't know. I saw other pictures that showed that it wasn't too bad. So who knows if people were trying to make it look bad. But overall, it's pretty impressive, and I'm sure they made a lot of money, and the crowd seemed really into it. It's kind of weird because at first, the pay-per-view I feel like was worse than I initially expected, and that's not to say that it was like by any means like a crazy pay-per-view by any means. I feel like by AEW standards this one was pretty average, but it had its moments, and I feel like they just did the same mistake that they usually do with a lot of them and overbook them and put matches that you don't necessarily need to see and just make it really long.
Really long.
Yeah.
God.
It just it doesn't need to be so long, just you could probably cut like 3 of the matches, and I feel like the overall pacing of the show would have been better. But what do I know?
I think in the notes I made notes about this match could be cut on some of them.
Okay, but we'll move right on from that. If you want to talk about this next thing we got going on here with the 2025 Women's Owen Hart Cup Final.
Oh boy! Well, this is an okay. I can't talk today. This is an okay match. We got Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Moné, and the winner is going to go on to earn a world title match at All In Texas, in addition to being the Women's Owen Hart Cup Tournament champion. That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the match starts slow with the crowd split in dueling chants. Both women are pretty popular with this group of wrestling fans. Monet takes Hayter into the corner early, mocking her after the break. Jamie gains momentum with strikes and a boot, earning a 2 count. Monet strings together quick near falls with a prawn hold and a roll up. Hayter and Monet battle for control in a sequence of leg submissions. Hayter locks in a single leg crab, but Mercedes gets to the ropes. We get some outside action. Monet hits a Meteora to knock Hayter from the apron to the floor. Mercedes throws Jamie into the barricade, taking control. We're going to get some submission wrestling exchanges. Back in the ring, Monet applies an arm and leg submission. Hayter powers out with a near fall and escapes a chinlock. Sorry about that. Mercedes lands a backstabber into a straitjacket hold. And we're going to get some high impact action. Jamie responds with corner offense and a double knee strike. Monet lands 3 amigos to Booze, but is caught on the top rope. Hayter hits a delayed suplex. Monet blocks a follow-up suplex with a backstabber. We're getting close to the home stretch here, but not quite. Hayter hits a Haterade. Both women are down. Outside, Jamie hits the ring step lariat despite slipping slightly. Back in, a flying boot by Hayter gets a near fall. Monet lands more backstabbers into the statement maker. Hayter escapes and gets 2 near falls off roll-ups. Monet blocks a power bomb. Hayter escapes Monet moneymaker attempt. And we're getting near the end here. Hayter locks in a rear naked choke. Monet escapes with a near fall. Another statement maker by Monet nearly ends it, but Hayter survives. Jamie lands a Haterade, but Monet kicks out. Monet tries for a tombstone, but Hayter hits it instead, near fall. Hayter sets up another Haterade, but Monet hits a DDT into a cradle. And that's it. Mercedes wins with the DDT into a cradle for the pin. She's your 2025 Owen Hart Women Cup champion, and she's going to face Toni Storm for the title at All In Texas. Overall, I thought it was a decent match. It was a mouthful to get through there, and it was the beginning of a very long pay-per-view. What did you think of this match, TJ?
I mean, the in-ring action is good. Both girls are good, and when Monet's in there with another chick that can work, the results are usually pretty decent. But I don't know. I'm just kind of confused by this match and how it's set up and her character. And it's like, isn't she supposed to be a heel? Why isn't she wrestling like one? You know, like she's never cheating. I feel like she might have done a little bit of that early on, but her persona is like an egotistical heel, and it's like normally if she was cheating, I feel like it would get her character over more and actually get real heat into her matches because, like, first off, you would eventually want to see that not succeed, but the way that she acts, she would be so egotistical to ignore the cheating part. It's like there's just a missing link in her character here, and I don't know. They're doing themselves a disservice by having her wrestle like that. It's John Moxley does a lot of that too. It's like just a heel that a lot of times he in these hardcore matches, but when he's not, he's like winning clean, and just going back to her, it just doesn't really make any sense. You know, the announcers were putting her over as like how resilient she was, and like just hyping her up and all that shit, and it's just strange to me. It's you don't hype up the heel, you know, like. But there was no like cheating or anything to make them not do that. It's none of it really makes any sense. And like, sure, the match is good, but in the end, that's isn't really what you want to go for. Like, there's just so much more that they could be doing to make you like sink your teeth into this. And I don't know. It's just a shame that seems to never really happen. And how many heels on AEW television don't cheat and are just tough guy heels?
All of them.
Yeah, it's strange. You know, I just always use the example. What's the difference between Jungle Boy's heel character and John Moxley's? Like, no.
Oh no.
They're the same guy.
Jungle Boy doesn't bleed in the first 30 seconds.
No, I just mean what they're doing. They're walking in there. They're both wearing leather jackets. They're both acting tough. They're not cheating to win the matches. You know, and I don't know where the fuck he's gone, but I don't know. That's my little rant on that match and some of the things I saw that were wrong with it, and maybe could have made it better if that was happening. And you know, it's especially effective when you have somebody cheat when she's had that belt as long as she has. Like, could you imagine if she's like 6 months in just cheating to win almost every match or every big match?
Right.
It would build a lot of fucking heat, but instead they're not really interested in doing that, right?
Doesn't seem like it.
All right, well, something else that may or may not be interesting to some people here. I'll go ahead and jump us into this if you don't have anything else to add.
Oh, no, I'm good, please.
All right, so we got FTR versus Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. This is probably one that we were talking about earlier that they could have got out of here. This is another one that was kind of tossed up with not a lot of build. Now, Nigel McGuinness talking shit with FTR and stuff like that was the link that made this semi-enjoyable in what they actually did a long-term build with it, I feel like. Or not long-term, but longer than just bringing Daniel Garcia in it, you know. But, so the match starts, and it's Garcia versus Wheeler here. It's annoying because, you know, you always think it's Yuta or something like that. But Wheeler tries mind games in the fake hug. Garcia answers with a shoulder tackle. Dax and Nigel square off. The crowd pops for Nigel's tag. They brawl with Dax landing heavy chops. Nigel answers with uppercuts and a brief double team from him and Garcia. FTR regrouped after that with a double sharpshooter attempt that forces FTR outside. That sounds confusing.
Yep.
They regroup and take control. Nigel's hands headstand.
Well, no, I get it. They regrouped. They tried the.
Oh, I got you.
You know,
they regrouped after they tried it. Okay.
They tried to put them in them, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just basic thinking there. But Nigel's headstand
the
counters
strange.
Yeah, leads to offense, but is cut off when Wheeler sends him into the announce desk. FTR isolates Nigel. Wheeler mocks Shivani while keeping Nigel grounded. Nigel finally counters with a lariat. We get a hot tag after that, and Daniel Garcia comes in mild, attacking both FTR and lands a deadlift back suplex on Dax. We get some big spots after that, with the Dragon Tamer by Garcia broken up by Wheeler. Assisted Tower of London from Garcia and Nigel on Dax. We get a near fall. FTR accidentally clothesline each other. We get a little bit of outside chaos with double submissions on FTR. Nigel gets revenge on Wheeler, near commentary yelling, "This is for Tony." He actually gave Tony a high five during the match. But Garcia hits a suplex, sets up another one, but gets intercepted. FTR regain control with a shatter machine to Nigel on the floor. In the ring, Garcia kicks out of a pile driver and even a spike pile driver. In the final moments, Garcia passes out in a sharpshooter as Wheeler and Stokely mock him. Garcia passes out and the FTR win via submission. I mean, it kind of stinks, but if they're just trying to get heat on FTR and have them have like a run with the belts as heels, it's the right way to go, I guess. So maybe they could get something out of that a little bit with have them saying that they choked out beat Nigel McGuinness and choked out Garcia. But I mean, I don't really need to be seeing Daniel Garcia on any pay-per-view at this point. There's a certain point to when you just need to move on. And what'd you think about this match?
Well, I like FTR. I like Nigel McGuinness on commentary. He was not a bad wrestler when he wrestled, but I didn't need to see this. No offense to everybody that liked it. It was a good match. We talked about these things being too long now. So if a match had to go, it would have been this one. There's a couple other ones, but yeah, this would have been one of the ones. To get the axe, you have one of the best tag teams in your company wrestling a goof and a commentator. I mean, yeah.
The commentator is barely seen wrestling on the show, and he's more legit than the goof, out of the four of them. Isn't that really weird? Like in every way, shape, or form. Just not into Daniel Garcia, man. And I know that there are people that are, and that's perfectly fine. We don't have to agree. This is just mine and Dave's opinion here.
Yep. Sorry, Garcia fans. Sorry, Daniel Garcia. You might not be fans of ours either, and that's okay. You're probably still a good dude, and that's all right. And we're gonna move on now.
Yeah,
we got a stretcher match with Mark Briscoe. I can't say that. Mark Brisket. I almost called him. Mark Briscoe and Ricochet. We got a opening brawl. Fight spills up the ramp near the ambulance early. Ricochet retreats back into the ring. Ricochet attempts a shooting star press onto Briscoe on the stretcher. Briscoe dodges. Ricochet crashes hard. That was pretty rough looking landing. It probably did not feel great. I would be surprised if it knocked the wind out of him for a second. Briscoe hits a Cactus Jack style elbow from the apron. They shot it well. It looked cool. Pays homage to Sabu and hardcore legends with weapons and attitude. Ricochet blocks a table attempt. Briscoe hits him with a chair and a cleaning bucket after spraying him with cleaner on the top of his head and shining up his head. The commentary had jokes about them shining up his bald head and it blinding him and things of that nature. I can't remember verbatim what they were saying, but they had their little one-liners. And then he goes for a Sabu chair dive, and Ricochet counters with a chair to the face, which looked pretty nasty. There was a lot of hard-hitting action in this. Ricochet turns the tide with spray to Briscoe's face and busts him open on the gurney. Ricochet nearly closes the ambulance door, but a crutch blocks it. Briscoe fires back with a face full of extinguisher. What the fuck does that mean? Oh, the Jay Driller teased.
Yeah,
that's his move. I'm like, what is that? Did I put the wrong thing there? Briscoe instead hits a froggy bow off the top rope through the table. During the final moments of the match, we get Ricochet jabs Mark in the face with scissors, but gets disarmed. Ricochet pulls another pair of scissors from the ambulance and hits a spirit gun. Briscoe laid on the stretcher and wheeled into the ambulance. Ricochet closes the door. Boom. He wins the stretcher match. The sirens blare for a really long fucking time during the celebration of the match or whatever. And it was going for a long fucking time. The match itself was pretty cool. There was a lot of good spots in this stuff. You definitely should watch it if you haven't. And there was some brutal stuff. And these guys definitely took some hard shots. The chair to the head, the landing on the stretcher. What did you think of this match?
Well, sorry, I was coughing, but so I enjoy the match. I like both these guys a lot. They definitely don't use Briscoe to the level that they should be, and Ricochet's definitely doing way better work than he has at any other point in his career that I've seen. But I don't really have too much to say. They definitely beat the shit out of each other. Mark Briscoe bled like crazy. It was cool seeing the stretcher match. We used to see them a lot more back in the day, with some pretty high profile guys. But overall, I liked the gimmick, and they both did it well. And there were some pretty cool spots in the match. And it would be nice just to see Mark Briscoe actually get some wins and maybe do something at some point in the company. But both guys can't win, though. It's overall, can't complain about that too long. But my main thing again is kind of, pull apart a little bit how this match was set up. And, there was a match, I believe this is how it started, with Zach Gowen. And, he stole his leg, and then they had the match, and then he beat him. I'm pretty sure Zach Gowen didn't win, right? Ricochet won?
Yeah, Ricochet won.
And then after that, he was beat up on him after the match, and then Mark Briscoe came out and did the save, and they had a couple more interactions after that. But I feel like it was like a 2-week build to a match, and it's like the first match you have is a stretcher match. You can't like pull this thing. Like, where do we go now? Just a one-on-one singles match? You know what I'm saying? It's like, where do we go from here? Is that it?
Yeah, I guess a cage match where they throw each other off the top or something crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, just not trying to knock. Both guys put in a really good effort and everything. Just
it's right. It's more like a blow off match for a feud than a first match.
Yeah, that lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. But overall, good match, and I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. We can go ahead and move on to the next one here. It's the AEW World Tag Team Championship match with the Hurt Syndicate versus the Sons of Texas. So in the opening here, by the way, the crowd's hot for both teams. Everybody really liked both guys, but or both teams. Sorry, not guys. But
yeah.
Dustin versus Lashley starts things off. Dustin avoids a hurt lock, but is overpowered and trapped in the corner. Lashley tags in Benjamin, who lands a German suplex and controls the pace despite Dustin's resistance. Dustin gets a knee lift in and tags Guevara. Momentum swings. Sammy hits a drop kick, but gets suplexed twice by Benjamin. Lashley tags in, misses a spear, but hits a high angle slam, which sends Guevara outside. MVP sneaks in cheap shots while the rest distract until Dustin chases him off. That was pretty good. But Guevara fights back. Sammy hits a cutter, allowing Dustin to tag in. Dustin fires up with a snap powerbomb on Shelton and sends Lashley to the outside. A code red by Rhodes gets a 2 count. Chaos breaks out. Dustin hits an unnatural kick in the corner. Still only a 2. We got a submission and high impact combos here with Benjamin locking in an ankle lock on Rhodes. Broken up by Sammy's running kick. Crossroads from Dustin. Shooting star press by Sammy. Keeps Lashley down. Dustin covers Shelton. We get a near fall. Then MJF starts interfering in the match. Benjamin intercepts Dustin up top with a near fall. MJF offers his diving ring to Benjamin, saying, "This is taking too long." Lashley tells MJF to back off, and then turns the spears Dustin. He turns and spears Dustin through the barricade. It was pretty. His spears are always pretty good. He's on that list that we made.
He hits it hard.
Yeah,
he
but
does.
Lashley and MJF hug, revealing an alliance, which obviously have, but now it's like it seems like they're kind of like fully drifting into the heel part here, and they're going to be more dicks to the fans and doing heel like tactics. Sammy goes for a dive but gets intercepted by Benjamin. Running knee and a thrust kick drops Guevara for the pin. This is a decent match. Everybody, more of the same shit that you're probably going to hear all night, but everybody was really trying and the crowd was into it. But, on comparing it to the rest of the matches in the night, this is probably one of the more like slower paced matches, but that's not to say that it was slow paced by any means. Just everybody runs 100 miles a minute.
Methodical.
Yeah.
It was relied a bit more on storytelling and selling and things of that nature as opposed to moving move to move.
Yeah, in that sense, it was a good match.
Pace.
But, you could tell it was just a little bit different than everything else that you saw on the show.
Yeah.
What you think?
It was a good enough match. I can't believe that Dustin's still out there doing it. Yeah, good for him. That's about all I got for that match. Good match. maybe one of those ones that I tossed around the idea of possibly not having on the card, or maybe having on the undercard and getting rid of one of the undercard matches.
Well, this next one's one of those. Even though I guarantee
Well,
you,
yeah,
like, if you said that, people would argue with you up and down.
I mean, this was a I should cut it match. Okada's a great wrestler and everything. He shouldn't be wrestling this guy. You know, this, if he's gonna, maybe wrestle him on like Collision or something. But anyway, take us into this. Or did you just do the last one? I
This
can't
is
even
you.
remember now. Oh no, fuck. Well, we got Okada versus Speedball Mike Bailey, and man, like I was saying, I would have cut this match just to get the length of the pay-per-view down. No offense to their work rate or anything like that. You know, the money. We'll find out about how good the match is as we go. Respectful lockup at the beginning. Okada controls early, forcing Bailey to the ropes. Bailey fights back, sending Okada outside and landing a crane kick on the floor. You know, like on the Karate Kid. The springboard dive by Bailey connects. Action returns to the ring. We get a momentum shift. Bailey goes for a high-risk move, but eats a dragon screw from Okada. Okada follows with a DDT on the floor and a near fall back in the ring. Gets some boots to the head and a corner big boot to wear Bailey down. We get a comeback from Speedball. He dodges on the outside and lands a springboard moonsault. We get an in-ring flurry capped by a running shooting star press, and Okada kicks out. That was a pretty nice move. Okada counters in the corner with a knee to the neck, body slam, and some top rope elbow. We get some twists and turns. Okada mocks the crowd and gets caught in a near fall roll up. Bailey hits another flurry, going for a shooting star. Okada gets the knees up. A strike exchange ends with Bailey hitting repeated roundhouse kicks. Get some near fall drama. Bailey nearly wins with a double roundhouse combo, but Okada grabs the bottom rope at the last second. Bailey unleashes more kicks and holds the wrist to keep Okada up, but Okada lariats him down. Multiple reversals and close pinfalls follow. Bailey goes up top. Okada drop kicks him in midair. One final Rainmaker lands clean. And your winner via pinfall is Okada. This was a good enough match. Both of these guys put on a really solid match. Still would have cut it off of the card, or maybe they had two matches on the undercard. Maybe this and the tag team match are the ones that are on the undercard. I don't know, but yeah. What did you think of this?
This was actually kind of similar to the last match where Okada would kind of work slower, more methodical and everything, and lays his shit in. And it was a decent enough match, I guess, but this is another thing where it says like a match with like almost no build, but just, I don't know, not really too into Bailey. And it's not to say he's not bad or anything. It's just strange watching like some guy that's 6'2" wrestle against a guy that's like probably like 5'7" and weighs like 145 pounds.
I mean, we did get some of that in WCW.
Yeah, but I don't know. Those guys seem like stars. This just seems like some fucking goof. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to shit on him completely. He does actually have some redeeming aspects, and he is better than some of the people that they've had there in the past. It's just overall, it's hard to really. You notice a pattern. So like, there'll be a whole bunch of people on the show, and then it's like a revolving door. Like eventually he'll just hire new people, and then some people disappear, and you just get the new people for a while until he gets tired of them. So it's
Yep.
That's
you come in, you're instantly in a title program, you lose the title program, and then you're relegated on down to whatever.
Yeah, that kind of is my prediction for him, but let's hope not. And I don't know, he does have potential to I like him more than Daniel Garcia, we'll put it that way. But I'll go ahead and move us on here. And this was the AEW Women's World Championship match. This is another match here that had a 2-week build. You notice a theme here, right?
Yep.
Mina ended up beating Tony in a 4-way eliminator match for the belt, and so they ended up setting it up at the pay-per-view, and that was the match that happened here. But it wasn't too bad, I guess. With the opening sequence, Mina brings early aggression, taking Tony down. Chain wrestling exchanges that lead to quick near falls from both women. Mina locks in a leg lock, but Tony reaches the ropes. Mina slams Tony's leg against the post. Storm reverses and does the same. DDT on the floor by the champ leads to a 2 count back in the ring. Fisherman suplex and a backbreaker give Tony Storm control. Rolling elbow, running kick, leg whip from Mina. Tony uses Luther as a shield, but Mina sends him flying and stays on the attack. Mina hits a top rope crossbody. Luther takes the blow. Mina hits a leg whip and locks in a figure 4. Tony escapes. Then we get a double knockdown, and it leads to a standing 10 count. Both rise and trade strikes. Storm hits a back suplex and 2 German suplexes, but knee pain delays her hip attack. Then Mina hits a hurricane. Am I saying that right? And a glamorous driver. Tony kicks out. Tony hits a hip attack. Goes for a Storm Zero. Mina counters into another figure 4. Storm barely gets to the ropes, but she does break it up. We get a quick near fall exchanges of small packages. Storm Zero connects clean, and then Tony Storm retains with the Storm Zero, like we said, and she gets a pinfall afterwards. Post-match, Storm and Mina embrace with a kiss to crowd approval. Then a graphic confirms after that it's Tony Storm versus Mercedes Moné at All In. I don't know. It was an okay match. Both put on a solid showing, I feel like, and I can't really shit on anything beyond the build being 2 weeks and just another match thrown together. I mean, fuck, if you want to see how like rushed this whole build was and last second it was, just look at Collision Thursday before. There was almost no build for it, you know. It's
Yep.
What'd you think?
Well, I like both of these women. It was a solid enough match. Nothing great. They keep having them do things like kiss for the crowd and everything. That feels like Vince McMahon's booking this a little bit, but yeah, good enough match. You know, like both the gals, and that's really all I got for that.
Yeah, well,
and
you get the pleasure
we'll
of taking us into this.
Oh boy. The Anarchy in the Arena match. The Team Omega, Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, and the Ops versus the Death Riders and the Young Bucks. And boy, this was a match, and it went on and on and on. A lot longer than you expect or hope.
No, it went right around what I expected.
But Swerve came out. He had some pretty cool Predator-inspired lasers and gear. Willow had a chained fist, which was all right. And Hobbs and Shibata came out. And Samoa Joe's missing at first. And Kenny Omega comes out with Captain America-style gear with a trash can lid shield. Kind of goofy. The Death Riders enter through the crowd. The Young Bucks follow with a goofy Founding Fathers
Everything's
intro.
comedy, huh?
It was really fucking stupid, and maybe this is a match that I would have cut, even though that's not realistic. But Joe ambushes Claudio backstage. Anarchy starts with a 4-way split screen. I kind of enjoyed them jump starting it like that. I'm so excited, you know, and I just can't hide it. That song plays over the intercom as they're fighting, and Kenny Omega gets on the mic and calls for something heavier, and then they start playing Bodies by Drowning Pool. And man, they played Bodies by Drowning Pool a lot. I lost count.
I think it was 3 times.
It felt like more than that, but I don't know. Try to listen to that song 3 times in a row, and it might feel like more than that. But anyway,
it was kind of unfortunate, by the way. You know, it's given the circumstances of the awards that they handed out earlier in the night, and the Bodies hit the floor song. I don't know. We're not going to linger on that, but I just, you know, we talked about that a little bit earlier, man. That's not good. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. But anyway, Mox forks Hobb. Yeah, that does say fork. I just wanted to make sure that I'm reading that right. Omega balcony dives onto the pile below. Willow bottle smashes Marina. Shibata wraps a barbed wire on his leg for a brutal punt to Yuta.
He kicked the shit out of him.
He did. It looked pretty solid. There was some good hard shots in this match, we'll say. We get some ringside carnage. Swerve drops Nick with a chair backbreaker. Don't know why I couldn't say that. Hobbs spinebusters Mox through a table. Willow uses a table on Marina. near a production truck. Sounds like she's doing something with a boat. She's using a table on the marina. Anyway, we get a spot specs explosion. Swerve hits a swerve stomp plus gritty. Claudio giant swing swerve into a speaker. Looked like it probably hurt a little bit. And then that made the, I'm using air quotes, music cut off because somehow him hitting a random unconnected speaker by the stage affects the house music. But, suspend disbelief here. It's wrestling. Shafir chains Willow to the ring post by her ear. I didn't like this spot.
Me either. Looked fucking nasty.
I really didn't like it. I understand it, and it makes sense. But, man, Omega is powerbombed through a table by the Bucks. Shibata eats a TK driver onto the floor. We get the forklift moment. Swerve arrives on a forklift driven by Prince Nana, which was pretty cool. I didn't know he was forklift certified. Nana unlocks Willow, and Shafir is taken out. Bucks eat a coquina clutch from Joe, broken by Matt's 450. Nick uses a staple gun on Hobbs, who no-sells it. And I was thinking that there were no staples in these, and I was wrong. There are staples in the stapler. Was?
Nick?
Oh, yeah, it was. Oh, no. Insanity builds. Shafir tries to staple Swerve's tongue. Willow saves him. Omega Snapdragon suplexes Shafir. It's about time somebody fucking dropped her. They keep having her attack these guys every week. And you're back in the Attitude Era. If you were attacking the dudes, you were eating whatever their finishing move was. Equal rights, equal lefts. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody should be beating up on women. But in a wrestling context, it was nice to see. And the Bucks super kick everyone, including Nana and the ref. Jesus Christ. Willow and Swerve hit a TK driver on Matt, which was pretty cool. The near fall was broken up by Yuta. We're getting into the closing moments of the match here. Not quite, though. Joe takes out Mox. Hook returns in an orange hoodie. It had Kenny on it. He had the hood up like Kenny. And he golf clubs Claudio, and then leaves. It was weird because Joe was kind of like waving him into the ring, like, get on in here, and then Hook took off.
Yeah, teasing something there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's storytelling or if he's just not cleared to do anything past go out there and fake hit a guy with a golf club because whatever that injury was that he had sustained that was, legitimate that concussion. We talked about. What was it, a concussion? He's out there throwing up and shit. Up,
yeah.
Yeah. I guess they could make you throw up. But yeah, maybe he's not cleared to do anything. But then Gabe Kidd ambushes Joe and pile drives Kenny, hands Bucks thumbtacks. Yuta and Claudio shove thumbtacks into Omega's mouth. Ugh. He gets a swing drop kick combo that looked kind of nasty. Mox locks in a bulldog choke. Joe breaks it but gets overwhelmed. Mark Briscoe returns and saves Joe by trapping the Death Riders in the ambulance. That was pretty cool. It was, that was a good idea. The final moments of the match, Omega hits a V trigger and Swerve hits a house call on Matt. Nick eats a Swerve stomp with a thumbtack soled shoes. And TJ pointed out to me last night or the night before, that every one of these Anarchy in the Arena matches have some kind of thumbtack shoe shit from the Bucks.
Yeah, they really nice to see that. So they incorporate.
It's nice to see them get it. Yeah. So they got to get thumbtack shoed instead of those assholes.
They had
thumbtack shoeing somebody.
At some point.
Yeah. We forgot to. That wasn't even in the notes here. There was a fucking move by the side of the stage through the table. Oh, that when Kenny did the one wing angel through the table and the shit exploded.
I mean, they've had shoes that have exploded before. I think they had spikes on them as well.
Yeah, I think that was a couple years back. I do recall that. But yeah, that was Anarchy in the Arena, and my God, there was a lot of brutality in this match. It was mostly entertaining. It was what it was. It wasn't great. I don't know. What did you think of this, TJ?
The first half of the match, I didn't really like too much. It was okay when they had the split cameras for a second, but any time that they have everybody running all over the place and split up, it's hard to keep up on it, and they just can't ever shoot it good enough. But once they got everybody kind of close together and they started singling out the big high spots, I feel like it became way better. And I actually did enjoy this match, especially like the last like 10 minutes or so. But the beginning was just a mess, and I really don't like the playing of the songs the whole time. I guess that means anarchy to them, and I'd say probably about the worst spot in it was the Young Bucks started super kicking everybody. But beyond that, I enjoyed the match, and I'm not going to shit on the beginning too much. Overall, it did what it was supposed to, and I guarantee a lot of people really enjoyed it.
Good, fair assessment.
So we're going to jump to another match here, which is strange because I guess you either use this for like a filler so people can go to the bathroom and get food between Anarchy and the main event. But this kind of sucked the air out of the room. And, you know, it's a shame because Takeshita's pretty good. I like him. Kyle Fletcher's pretty decent. I like him too. I don't know too much about Josh Alexander. He's just kind of like the headgear guy to me. But Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly, you know, I could do without at this point. I know like he got hurt, but Adam Cole just he hasn't been the same since basically the only good thing he's done in AEW is work with MJF. Beyond that, there's not a lot to do. And that was a great angle. It was probably one of the best ones they've ever done. And it kind of got derailed because everybody got, or, you know, they actually both got hurt. But anyways, we'll just, and he's suffering from the curse of that TNT title. They have no clue what to do with him with it, just like Daniel Garcia. But Cole vs. Takeshita starts off with a technical battle. Takeshita gains control with strikes in the corner. Josh Alexander tags in and lands heavy shots before Cole tags in on Strong. After that, we get a little momentum shift. Strong delivering a backbreaker before Alexander tags out to Fletcher. Paragon triple teams Fletcher after bringing him to their corner. Strong chops away, but a distraction allows Josh and Takeshita to double team Roddy. They start isolating here, and Takeshita and Alexander keep Strong grounded and cut him off from Paragon. Strong eventually breaks free with a clothesline and tags in Cole. We get some hot tag chaos after this, with Cole hitting a comeback and a neck breaker on Alexander. Fletcher stops a Panama Sunrise and the family triple teams Cole, ending with a Takeshita powerbomb and a near fall broken up by Paragon. We get a breakdown after this with all six men brawling. Takeshita heads to the outside. Cole looks for a boom but gets interrupted. O'Reilly tags in and lands a stiff kick on Fletcher and locks in a guillotine. And the finish is Fletcher locking in a guillotine into the brainbuster and gets a 1-2-3. Post-match, Paragon tries to recover, but Lance and RPG Vice storm the ring and attack. Chaos continues until the Hounds of Hell's music hits. Brody King and Tomohiro Ishii appear. Shock moment with Hiroshi Tanahashi joining them on stage. Tanahashi, Ishii, and Brody King clear the ring, standing tall as the Callis family regroups outside. Adam Cole's music plays as tensions rise. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are they coming out? Are they trying to advertise all these guys as being in the run for, like, trios now or something? Like, I don't really give a fuck about Tanahashi. I definitely don't give a fuck about Ishii. Brody King I could do with or without. I really don't fucking care. Lance Archer's cool. RPG Vice, Trent's okay, I guess. But I don't know. Not much to be excited about over there. This match happened. It was a decent little match for what it was, but this is another match. Maybe this had a 1 week build. I don't really know. I know these guys do have a little bit of tension, but this overall, it's when you just have a lot of good matches, or like this was probably the worst match of the night, by the way. But when you have a whole bunch of like good matches and they're just kind of tossed together last second, it's, I don't know, it just kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. And what do you think about that?
Well, you know, like we said at the beginning of this match, this is definitely one that we could have cut. Not particularly crazy about any of these guys. Hey, obviously, Don Callis family is, you know, they're good enough, and they're pretty entertaining most of the time.
Yeah, I always talk highly of them.
Yeah, Adam Cole is honestly not bad too, other than that he needs to, you know,
be in a program.
Yeah,
he's actually decent,
honestly,
but they just don't show it.
Yeah. And the match was good enough. It's not to shit on the in-ring work. There's no reason to care about any of these guys. I don't know. I was disinterested. This was the match that I kind of took a break because the last match was so long. So I needed to stretch my legs and get a snack, and so I missed some of it. But yeah, I don't know.
What about this aftermatch shit here?
Oh shit, there was more.
No, you remember what I just said with the Hounds of Hell coming out and Ishii and Hiroshi Tanahashi coming out.
Oh, I thought that there was more beyond that. I was like, Jesus Christ, man.
But I'm saying, like, what do you think about that? Like, what the fuck? What is that? Why? Who cares?
I don't think much of it. Exactly. Who gives a fuck? I don't understand.
Ishii's fucking... I don't get it, man.
Just send him back to Japan, man.
And then
that's all
I know Tanahashi was a big deal in Japan back in the day, but, like, he can barely fucking move. Like, he looks geriatric when he's out there. It hurts watching him. I don't know if you remember the last time he was on their fucking television. I think it was like a year ago. Forbidden Door's fucking getting close, but it gets worse every year. And I don't really care about air guitars and his fucking hair. And I'm not trying to diminish him for anybody else. I'm sure he's had a lot of great matches, and he's a legend in Japan, but it's AEW television here. Is that about it on that one?
Yes. Fuck.
Well, this is you right here.
Oh, well, we get to the main event here, and it's the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Final for the men. Will Ospreay versus Hangman Adam Page. We get the opening exchanges, intense stare down. Crowd is hot for both of these guys. That's not an exaggeration. They were actually pretty excited. As excited as you could be for having watched this many hours of wrestling and still being there. The technical lockups happen early. Ospreay gains control, but Page slows some things down. Hangman grabs hair in the corner, and the crowd splits. Ospreay dodges a buckshot. Page avoids a hidden blade. The momentum swing. Ospreay hits a Hurricane Rana, a standing sky twister press for a near fall. Page responds with a fall-away slam into the barricade, then again into the corner for 2. Strike exchange leads to a Sasuke special from Ospreay. Mid-match sequences are Blue Thunder Bomb by Ospreay for a near fall. Page intercepts a dive with a moonsault to the outside, followed by a Boston Crab in the ring, and Will breaks it with the ropes. It's a nice spot. Spanish Fly by Ospreay for 2. Shooting Star Press onto the ropes connects. Only a 2 count. We get some high-impact drama. An Os Cutter blocked. Page hits a Tombstone Pile Driver for a near fall. Ospreay counters Deadeye into the Styles Clash attempt. Page reverses with an Angel Wings for a 2 count. Page attempts a BME. Ospreay catches him with a Hidden Blade. Page rolls away. We're getting close to the end. Will hits a Os Cutter for a near fall. Hidden Blade connects. Page kicks out. Ospreay slams Page on a collapsed announce desk, but Hangman hits a Deadeye onto it moments later. Page and Ospreay remove their elbow pads. Dramatic standoff ends with a buckshot lariat. Ospreay kicks out. Final stretch of the match here. Hidden Blade, Storm Zero combo. Page kicks out at 2. Page blocks another Hidden Blade, counters V-Trigger into Big Pressure, a Swerve Tribute. Ospreay kicks out again. Final buckshot lariat from Page, connects clean. Page with the 1-2-3 via pinfall. He wins the 2025 Owen Hart Cup. The crowd's pretty hyped for that. It's fucking Hangman, whatever. Page celebrates through the exhaustion. There's confetti and pyro and all the pageantry and hoopla as the Owen Hart Trophy is presented. Graphic confirms that it'll be Page versus Moxley for the AEW World Title at All In Texas. Page returns to the ring to offer a handshake to Ospreay, which is accepted. The show ends with Page standing tall, trophy in hand, and the crowd showing massive respect, and me actually having to watch it the next day because the shit was so long that I went to bed and had to finish watching the final 2 hours of it the following day. What did you think of this match, TJ?
I mean, it was the in-ring was great. There was never a question of that. And I'm
100%.
I'm sure nobody went into this thinking that it wasn't going to be, a little bit fast at some points, but overall, really solid match. And it just kind of stinks that they're not jumping on Ospreay here. You know, he's definitely probably the most over guy in the company, or he was, and he has the most upside compared to anybody still. And even though they've thrown him and beat him, he still, you know, is looking solid and everything. It just, you know what you're getting with Adam Page, man. You've seen that. It wasn't good the first time. I'm not expecting much out of it again when it happens. Hopefully it doesn't. But, you know, he's probably going to end up beating Moxley, and you're just going to have this other mediocre run compared to the one that he had the first time. And he's not genuine. His in-ring's good, but everybody's is. And overall, it's just not a lot to look forward to. And I just can't believe that they're fucking passing Ospreay up again, man. They have a chance to, like, turn shit around with that guy if you have the right programs. But hopefully, maybe they're going to go that direction sooner than later, either way. And pretty much all I got to say about that. It was a decent show, man. It's just it was better than it was better than the last one that they had. I'll give them that.
Dynasty,
Dynasty was fucking terrible. But this was like, I mean, if I had to give it like the fucking number, I'd say like 6 out of 10, something like that. You know, it was decent.
Yeah, like a C.
Yeah, they gotta trim the fat, man, as there's a lot of it.
Yep.